So The Eddy on Netflix is a new miniseries, which is a French-American drama musical which takes place in Paris. Damian Chazelle directed the first two episodes. What did I think of the show? Do I recommend you all check it out? We're going to talk about that and much more. A French club owner deals with the everyday chaos of running a live music venue in the heart of Paris. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new Netflix TV review, and today we're talking about The Eddy, a show that I was really interested in checking out, and I'm here to let you all know what I thought about it. Now, this show isn't in like the top 10 recommended shows or things on Netflix, so I'm gonna probably do a spoiler-free review, and if I do dive into the spoilers, I'll let you all know. I'll give you a warning, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna keep this spoiler-free. But before we dive into this spoiler-free review, as you all can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to this channel, definitely consider subscribing. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my new content. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel, but I also really appreciate it. And last but not least, if and when you've seen The Eddy, I want to know what you all thought about the performances, the stories, who was your favorite characters. Do you want to see a season 2? Let's have some fun discussions in the comments below. So kind of as I always do with my Netflix review, a little backstory how I knew about the show. I remember seeing the trailer a couple weeks ago. I actually mentioned it in my most recent movie and TV bucket list for the month of May, and a couple things that really got me interested in this show. Number one, finding out that Damian Chazelle was attached to this as one of the executive producers, but he was also gonna be directing the first two episodes. I'm a huge Damian Chazelle fan. For me, he's 3 for 3 with Whiplash, La La Land, and most recently First Man. And I'm just a big fan of his. I think he's a great director, and I was really excited to see him in the TV realm, which is something that a lot of these directors that I'm a big fan of are finding their way onto the TV platform. So I was excited for that. And then André Holland, man, I think he is such an underrated actor in regards to, you see him in a Moonlight, you see him in, a couple other Netflix films, you see him make an appearance in a short for Jurassic Park, and he's just been a consistent actor in my opinion. You see him on American Horror Story for one season. I think he's a really great actor, and I'm really, really interested to see what he did in regards to leading a TV show. So those are really the big things that really attracted me to this project, and I'm gonna let you all know what I thought of this project. So first and foremost, again, The Eddy is based on André Holland's character, whose name happens to be Elliot, which, is pretty cool to kind of hear your name throughout the series. I just feel kind of connected to the show in that matter. But, you have Elliot, who's a club owner in Paris, who's a very well-known artist himself, but he has put the artistry and making music and jazz music in particularly on the back burner due to some personal reasons. But you're seeing him kind of handle the club, interacting with his band members, interacting with his staff, and interacting with his daughter, played by Amandla Stenberg, who I'm a big fan of as well. And you're just seeing this show kind of play out in regards to this day-to-day in life. Something happens to a close friend of his. There's some other interesting characters that are involved, trying to get his club, trying to get him to work for him, and just a lot of different things going on. So starting off with some of the positives with the show, again, this is a jazz musical drama. Now, when I say musical, this isn't like they're bursting out in songs a la like a La La Land. It's a regular show. It's grounded. It's just a matter of the musical aspect comes in with the jazz. He owns a club. He has a band that's trying to get signed to have a record label. And that's one thing that I would say. If you, and me personally, I'm not a big jazz fan, but I appreciate the artistry and I appreciate it when I do hear it, but I don't necessarily seek out jazz. But there is one thing that is very consistent about this show is the authenticity of the music. The music is a integral part to this story, no matter what the subject matter is, no matter how dark, how chaotic the episodes might be. The tension is definitely there in certain points, but the music is a very integral part to not only the show, but in the characters. It's embedded in the characters. All of the characters have some type of connection to music, and particularly to jazz, and it all ties into this main character played by André Holland in regards to him being the owner of the club and also being a really well-known jazz artist. So I love that the show kept that consistent throughout the entirety of the show, and you felt it. And some of the music is incredible. I can't think of the composer's name now, but I know they had an original composer that made up these songs, and they are just amazing. And you're watching these different characters play jazz and their different flavor to jazz, and I really appreciated that about the show. So that was definitely something that stood out to me, and particularly with our characters. As I had mentioned, I have the likes of the only two people I was familiar with this cast was André Holland, who plays Elliot, and also his daughter Amandla Stenberg, who was this, a very interesting character, a 16-year-old who has a very interesting backstory. She moved to Paris with her dad because she had some issues with her mom and her stepdad back home in America, and That character, and I'll get into my cons a little bit later, but that character was really an interesting character because it took a while for me to get used to her character. Again, Amandla is a great actress. I loved her in The Hate U Give and all the different things I've seen her in, seeing her come up, and I believe her first appearance was in Hunger Games, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me in the comments, but I thought that it took me a minute to kind of get used to the complexity and the inner drama that was going on within the character and her relationship with her dad and her relationship with Sim and some other characters. But by the end, I definitely applaud her performance because again, you had to follow this character's journey, and she ended in a really good spot in my opinion. But going back to her dad, played by André Holland, again, guys, he doesn't disappoint in my eyes. I think he is such a consistent actor. This show has a lot of tension. Like when I read the synopsis, chaos of him running the club, that is an understatement. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of like Adam Sandler's and Uncut Gems, just the tension and the amount of stress that is put on him to keep this club open because he has people relying on him to keep this club open to provide for their families, their loved ones, their sick ones, people that are passed away. So seeing André Holland go through all that, but at the same time have his own character arc and develop over the season where he's kind of closed off. He really doesn't have much of like true relationships with people, but as the show kind of progresses, you get more and more layers from this character. You find out about one of his, his son passed away, which is a really integral part of why he doesn't play jazz anymore, and you find out his best friend and the stuff that he was involved with and everything going on with the police in this show. Again, I don't want to give too much away because it was a very fascinating show, but I really applaud André Holland, his performance, and I gotta give a big shout out to the supporting cast member as well. There was a lot of French. This takes place in Paris, so you had French actors and actresses, you had people Arabic descent, you had Polish people. So I love the culture in this show. Again, this is a show that is subtitled. It's probably about 80% in French and Polish and Arabic, so there is some subtitles there, but that didn't bother me whatsoever because again, it made it authentic and true to the settings. It is a diverse cast, and I love the cast, and there were definitely some standouts within the supporting cast member. One of those supporting cast members is Joanna Kulig, who plays Maja, who is a close friend and someone has a relationship with Elliot's character, and I thought that another character kind of grew on me. I thought she was just kind of set for one particular storyline, but she ended up being very integral to the main plot, and I liked her as a singer. Some of the songs, some of her vocal levels didn't really hit to me, and everyone was amazed by her vocal levels, but I thought she did a really good job bringing in the culture, the rhythm, and everything that she had to do with her singing. But as an actress, and her storyline was very integral to the story, and I liked her and Elliot's relationship and her and Julie's relationship. So she was a really interesting character, and she really stood out to me. And there was another character that was really, really awesome character. I loved her arc, and I loved her performance in the show as well. And that character was played by Leïla Bekhti, who played Amir, who is the wife of a particular character that is very integral to the storyline. I thought that she was so sincere. I thought that her performance was fantastic. I loved every time she was on the screen because she brought this type of gravitas to her scene. She was very emotional, very loving. She was one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character in the entire show. And throughout the show, there's a very good amount of supporting cast members that have an integral part to the story that complemented the storyline and the characters. And one thing that was fascinating about this show in regards to some more positives, every episode is kind of based on an individual character within the band and some of the outside characters, and you still had the main through line, which is Elliot up in the club and everything going on with the police and everything going on with his friend and money laundering and all that different stuff. Again, this is a really fascinating show. There's more to the show than face value, and honestly, I don't even remember them showing that much in the trailer regarding that particular storylines that are integral to the show. But again, I think the supporting cast was really solid. Our main leads were great. The music is so great. The culture there, you see so many different things about Paris. I've seen a lot of movies, not necessarily shows, but a lot of movies that take place in Paris, and this shows you another side of Paris, more on the ground level, more of the day-to-day life, more of the cultural impact in Paris in regards to, again, there's Arabic descent characters in here in culture, Polish, again, you have people speaking in French, and I just really enjoyed the authenticity of the culture within this show. So as I had mentioned, there are some cons within the show and some characters that took a while for me to get used to, and I still have some issues with some of the decisions being made by the characters without getting to the spoilers. Again, Amandla as Julie is a really fascinating character. She's 16 years old. She's coming from America to live with her dad in Paris, who they don't have much of a great relationship, especially with her brother passing away and his son passing away. So there's definitely a complex type of relationship. But there were decisions and things that Julie did that they didn't really fully flesh out as much as I thought they should have. She's definitely has some issues going on personally. Again, she's becoming a woman. She's want to interact with certain people. She's making these silly decisions. She wants to drink. She wants to smoke. She wants to party and do all these different things. But they really never dove deep into her psyche in regards to the relationship that was there with her mom and her dad, the complexity within that relationship and what that does to her. I wish the show would have dove deeper into that character to explain some of her erratic decisions. So that was a thing that kind of bothered me with Julie. But as the show went on and she develops that friendship with Sim, I thought that she became more of a fleshed out character kind of almost halfway through the season compared to the first half of the season. There were some cons regarding some of the this is a slow burn. I will not lie. This isn't the most and this is by no means underplaying the show. But, again, Damien Chazelle directed the first 2 episodes and really sets the tone for the show. And the first 2 episodes are very different from the rest of the season, in my opinion. It's very, very high paced, very handheld camera-like things, very natural to the situation they were in. But as the show kind of goes on, that tension is still there, but it kind of slows down a little bit compared to the first 2 episodes. So that isn't necessarily a con, but going back to what I was saying in regards to those 8 episodes or 9 episodes, it is a slow burn, right? And you have these individual episodes that focus on these particular characters that are in the band. Some of them are not in the band. You still have your main through line with Elliot, but some of those episodes weren't as integral to the storyline as I thought they would have been. Like there's one particular character that deals with drugs, and his storyline really just, they kind of show you that episode and you really don't get much from that character. And that was another thing within these individual characters. Not all the characters had a big part in the show. So they would spin, literally the name of the show would be that particular character, and you get that main storyline, but then you don't see that character play any more big parts into the show, which was very interesting and kind of a con for me, because it's why would you spend so much time with this character if you're not going to really wrap up their storyline or give you some updates on what's going on with them? How are their father doing? Is he still a drug addict? There's different things like that I thought was a little underdeveloped. So my biggest issue with this show in regards to a major storyline, without giving too much away, there is a particular character that has some dealings with the mafia and some gangsters. There's some things that happen to that character, and is a very, very big part of the show. It takes place in the first episode, and everything attached to that storyline to me was so drastically different from the emotional moments from the show, from the character development from the show. It was almost just clashing of 2 things that just didn't fit well for me personally. The policemen that were involved in that storyline I thought were not that great of actors. Everything that came with that, whether it be the intimidation factor of these particular characters, I thought that was not well developed at all. And I don't want to give too much away, because it is a thing that the trailer doesn't really talk about, the synopsis doesn't bring up, but there is a very particular storyline that involves money issues, gangsters, mafia, some threatening of things, some people getting killed, and I'll just leave it at that. But that storyline to me did not work at all. And the way that the show ended kind of points you that if they do have a season 2, that's the direction they're going to go into, which is kind of going after this particular person and this particular group of people. So that storyline to me didn't work personally. Again, it created the tension, it heightened things up, but whenever they threw it in, it was just this again, the money issue, where's the money? Who's this person gonna affect who? I'm gonna, the threats and all that stuff just didn't fit well within the show. It was it was almost 2 different shows whenever that particular storyline came into the mix, and I won't give too much away on that end. But all in all, guys, the Eddy is a really fascinating show. I recommend you all check it out. If you are someone that appreciates music, and in particularly jazz, if you're someone that appreciates seeing a different style of show in regards to seeing different cultures, different people and interacting with music, I think this was something you would love. Again, the performances are really solid. The supporting cast is really good. And then there's a good story being told within this actual individual story, and following Elliot and everything he goes through with his club, and him being who he is as a person, how he interacts with other characters. So with all that being said, recommend you guys give it a shot. Again, it's 9 episodes, 8 to 9 episodes. They're about an hour a piece. So again, it took me a couple days to finish the show. But like I said, I do recommend you all check it out. And when you do, let me know what you thought of it. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new content. Make sure you keep an eye out for some more reviews I got coming up this week. Movies I missed. I do have a new movie that I will be showing you guys sooner, probably this Wednesday or Thursday. I have a watch along this Friday for Mad Max Fury Road, celebrating its 5-year anniversary. anniversary. I'm doing a lot of collaborations on other people's channels. So if you're not already, follow me on Instagram so you know where I'm going to be doing conversations, watching along, streams, all that fun stuff. So definitely follow me on Instagram so you know where I'm going to be next. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers, so make sure that you guys let your family and friends know about this channel. And I'm probably going to do like a Q&A once I hit 3,000 subscribers and answer your questions, have some fun conversations and all that great stuff. So again, thank you for the continued support. Thank you for watching this review, and we'll see you soon.